we have also seen that, and this is very similar to what is happening with the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant. Devoid of being able to, have any type of military victory, the Kiev regime is quite obviously firing on Russian forces that have had jurisdiction, that have had control over the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant since the beginning of March. Now, the Ukrainian staff continues to run the plant. They're all locals. And Russian, the power plant continues to provide energy to Kiev regime-controlled parts of Ukraine. The plant, it's the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, and it provides some total of 20%, a whole fifth of Ukraine's total electricity is provided by that plant. So it's pretty significant. And if the Kiev regime, again, for reasons of trying to create some type of international incident to grab attention, headlines, perhaps even once again a desperate attempt to draw the West into the conflict, to draw NATO in, saying the West, if they don't do anything when, the Kiev regime story about the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, that Russian forces are occupying the plant and firing out of it with heavy artillery so that the Kiev regime can't fire back, but at the same time firing into the plant from outside to kill themselves, blowing themselves up in a nuclear explosion to blame Kiev. I don't think really anyone seriously believes that. I think it's this mental type of deception where you can't possibly blame your side, and that's of course how the Western media sees Kiev. So that's going on, and we know that they've attacked the plant because the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense told us so. One of the first attacks on the plant was a kamikaze suicide drone attack. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense tweeted quite boastingly about it on Telegram, on their official channel, that they had struck Russian forces that were within the grounds of the nuclear power plant. And then after that, it became, oh, that's not us hitting them, they're hitting themselves, which is, to be fair, the exact same thing they've said about the Donbass for the entire 8 years. Those pro-Russian separatists keep shelling themselves in their cities. How stupid of them, and the Western media says, well, both sides are blaming each other, so we don't know, right?
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's impossible for them to investigate,
the
right?
Most cynical, despicable, real, attempted equivocation. But that's what we're seeing. Threat of nuclear terrorism. We're seeing attacks on targets in Crimea and Belgorod. We have also now seen actual political terrorism, yes. And that this is the most tragic event of the week, and the potential repercussions of this and the precedent it sets. Daria Dugina, the daughter of the Russian philosopher, political figure, writer, Alexander Dugin, much vilified in the Western press, just made into a complete caricatured bogeyman figure, and simultaneously exaggerated out of all importance. Dugin and his daughter are marginal political players in Russia. Dugin has no access or no influence over the Kremlin, over Putin. He is not Putin's brain. He's neither him nor his daughter had ever met or spoke to Putin before his daughter was killed in this cold-blooded murder, this terrorist attack. It seems pretty clear what happened. And the facts that the Russian FSB, the security services, have presented are pretty hard to put any serious doubts on. They've provided video. So what appears to have happened is that Dugin and his daughter were targeted specifically because, despite his lack of any real influence in Russia, a marginal political figure, no effect on policy on Ukraine or anything else with Putin, but because he's been blown up in the Western minds and in the propaganda of the Kiev regime to fit the bogeyman figure that they want, it would still be a victory because the meme is more important than the reality. So that's why he was targeted, and a completely soft target. That can't be left out of it either. So a woman by the name she entered the country on her married name. She is a Ukrainian. She was previously a member of the Azov neo-Nazi battalion. Evidently, most of the work she did was in the office, but she was actually a member of the neo-Nazi death squad. And she was picked up, as so many of Azov's people have been, by the SBU, the Ukrainian intelligence services. She crossed the border into Russia under fake ID. She brought her 12-year-old daughter with her as cover, evidently. She once in the country, she changed her license plates. They've got video of her doing this. They changed her hair color. She changed her hair color. She entered in July, so this has been more than a month in preparation. She rented out a flat in Daria Dugina's apartment building to surveil her. She lived there for a month. And then a couple of days ago, she went to a tradition festival just outside of Tradition and Culture Festival that the Dugins go to, and they've pretty much founded and headline every year. And she put a bomb obviously during the festival, she or someone else. We don't know actually yet if she planted it. We know she was involved. We know that she surveilled. We know that she fled the country immediately afterwards. Was she working with someone else? Did someone else plant the bomb and actually remotely detonate it? We don't know that yet. But we know that she was involved and that she fled the country. She put it beneath the driver's side of Daria's SUV, Toyota SUV, and it was detonated while she was driving back. And I think there is a presumption that Alexander Dugin probably would have been in the car as well. He was not, but obviously they would have someone knowing this. And the fact that Daria Dugin was the one being surveilled leads some credence to some other figures that we have heard from in Kiev that say Daria Dugin was specifically targeted, at least as well. And we know this because the Mirotvorets hit list, the hit list that was created by Ukrainian ultranationalists, Banderite fascists. The translation of the name is, sickeningly enough, the Peacemaker. It has thousands of people on it. Anyone and everyone who is either a journalist or a public figure or celebrity who has criticized the Kiev regime and been declared an enemy of the state. And Daria Dugin and her father, Alexander Dugin, were also on that list, where they joined the preeminent American realist international relations scholar, John Mearsheimer, Henry Kissinger, the former German Chancellor, Gerhard Schroeder, Waters, the Pink Floyd, ex-Pink, Roger Waters, Pink Floyd singer, and many, many others on that list. And Even the Wikipedia entry admits, and the Ukrainian media and even the Western media has admitted that list is curated by the Ukrainian intelligence services and is promoted by the Interior Ministry. Whenever someone on that list is killed, they are marked as eliminated. And Daria Dugin profile on there has now been marked as a successful elimination.